All right. Well, there you go then. I think that's all our major storylines we got for this week. Let me see. Let me move along. Let me move through my blog post. Yeah, we already did the Hangman Page MJF stuff. We already did the AEW Revolution stuff. All right. So that's it. I got a Retro Raw. You guys want to run through some results from this Retro Raw? I could do it maybe in like 20 minutes or less, maybe. What do you think?
I'll leave it up to you, but yeah.
I mean, if you guys are tired, obviously, I understand you have lives. If you want to leave, you're excused. But if you want to hang around and do some stuff here, Robert, you didn't happen to watch this one, did you? I know sometimes you watch some of our extra retro Raws that we do and prepare for the show. But I always tell you guys, you didn't, right?
No, I didn't watch this one.
Yeah, all right, that's all right. I always tell you guys it's optional if you want to watch it or not, because we're going to go through it. If there's any clips that I think are worth playing, I'll play them. Otherwise, I might just maybe list some results. And Robert, you actually probably saw this episode live back in the day. So WWF, we're on September 30th, 1996. We did September 23rd last week, so we've been doing about a month and a half. If you want if you miss any of we started post SummerSlam, so if you've missed any of our reviews of WWF in 1996 post SummerSlam, you could go to the description and I'll put the whole playlist so you could watch everything that we've reviewed so far. But we also reviewed WCW from this same day. This is September 30th, 1996. So we did this on episode 87 of the Malapert Smark Podcast last year, probably. And this was the episode where WCW were trying to get Sting back because Sting has ran away because they offended him, and they bought him a car. And then Miss Elizabeth is in the NWO's dressing room, and Macho Man found her there, and he's feuding with Hogan. So they're in full swing, right? They're in a great Macho Man versus Hollywood Hogan feud for the world title, leading up to Halloween Havoc. And WWF is leading up to Buried Alive as their next pay-per-view. So they've been advertising Mankind versus The Undertaker and Buried Alive. So, all right. So here's our topics for today. I got a few topics for what happened here on September 30th, 1996. And let's go through them. So let's see what we got. Give me 1 second, guys. Trying to pull up my videos and everything. So here's our review of 1996, September 30th, WWF Raw. I think Vlad did this review earlier, so me and Vlad already reviewed all these storylines if you want to go read them. It's kind of interesting to me. But all right, so this is the continuation of the Razor Ramon storyline. So Robert, you weren't here, but last week they introduced the fake Razor Ramon finally. Okay. And JR cut this crazy promo that I thought, actually, you know what? I'm going to play, during the intro of this show, they play like a little bit of what JR said the week before. And man, JR sounded like a little too freaking, like it sounded a little too natural, the stuff he was saying about Vince McMahon and the WWF.
Yeah, that was a work shoot. I mean, that was a complete work shoot.
Exactly. So listen to this, Robert. Let me play something from here.
I have no loyalty to the World Wrestling Federation. I've only got loyalty to good old JR. I came here to be the primary play-by-play man in the WWF. Vince McMahon couldn't stand the competition, and he fired my ass. It's crap. These guys think the WWF was an accident? Hell no, it's not. I've been very busy. And right now, I want to bring back one of your favorites. He's the bad guy, Razor Ramon.
With those words, Jim Ross tore apart the foundation of the World Wrestling Federation. Tonight, a new era begins. Diesel is in.
He said he fired my ass. All right. So let me see. Let me see. This is the image of when commentary they show the commentary team when the show opens, and JR, this is the first time he appears. So here he is. He's so freaking proud of himself. He looks like, yeah, I told off the company. I told my boss to go fuck himself. And yeah, I'm still here and I got a job. He's dead serious. And he still has a job, which is kind of funny. That's another thing. Like, if he actually said all that stuff about his boss, like, you know, wouldn't he get
fired?
Wouldn't he get fired or anything? But he did mention that he thinks he might get fired. Actually, I'm going to play some of what he said during commentary. So this is during Stone Cold's match, but I'm going to cover Stone Cold's match in a second. I just want to listen to what JR said during his match. So I'm going to hit play on this one.
Savio Vega will battle Razor Ramon, JR. Oh, yeah, there you see him. Hell, that's him. That's Razor Ramon. What else you going to call him? Razor Ramon right here tonight. And there's a big diesel for that. That's been the most asked question all week. What do we think of this guy? Well, I would suggest, Kevin, you call him Razor Ramon, as identified on his height.
Well, all I can say is Gorilla Monsoon's going to be out here. Jim, I'm afraid he's going to accuse you of being a hoodwinker.
Yeah, well, Monsoon's already tried to fire me once. Maybe he's going to fire me tonight. Maybe that's his big announcement. He's going to fire me right here.
On the air?
That'll only be the third time I've been fired in this company. Jake now.
All right. So I don't want to talk about this Stone Cold Jake thing yet. I'll talk about that later. But what happened? So Gorilla Monsoon, the president of, well, here's the Outsiders warming up in the locker room. So, you know, I did mention that the fact that they're actually teasing Diesel this time doesn't really matter, because it's like, okay, we already know this is bullshit. Like, you don't need to tease that Diesel's going to be here. Dude, shut the fuck up. So here's Razor coming out, doing the Razor move. It's funny to me, I wrote in the comment, Vlad, that he does all of Razor's mannerisms and everything, you know? But anyways, let me play. So here's JR's explanation for Hall and Nash, or Razor and Diesel, and he says, I never call him Hall and Nash, because Kevin Kelly's like, this is not Hall and Nash, and JR's like, well, I didn't say it was going to be Hall and Nash, right? So here's how he explains it.
But don't you guys like competition? Is there something wrong with having great young athletes here? Gorilla Monsoon said it would not be Scott Hall, Jim Ross. And I never mentioned Scott Hall's name, or Kevin Nash. You recall me ever mentioning their names? No, you don't. What's wrong with bringing great athletes to the World Wrestling Federation?
So he's saying he's just bringing great athletes in. I didn't say I was going to bring Hall and Nash, right? So I guess he's saying I brought two guys in, and I'm calling them Diesel and Razor. All right, well, that's fine. Whatever.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
All right, so here's Gorilla Monsoon to come in to argue with JR about this, the president of the WWF.
Please, the World Wrestling Federation President Gorilla Monsoon has joined us here at the broadcast desk. We are getting set to see the man you claim to be Razor Ramon, Jim Ross, in the ring, taking on Savio Vega. And I don't know what to make about this match or the comments that you made. Well, it's pretty obvious that's Razor Ramon.
No, that's not obvious, Jim Ross. That is not obvious.
Look at your...
Gorilla Monsoon's face here, bro. I'm pressing pause on this and making this bigger. Oh my god, he's like so serious. Like that's not the Jim Ross. That's this guy is some actor. To go through this ridiculousness, he is a great wrestling actor. I'll give him that. I'm just gonna play a couple more seconds of this.
Tom in the office, and look at his contract. His contract says his name is Razor Ramon.
But what's his real name? You know, I'm concerned about what's going down here, Jim Ross. I'm very concerned about your attitude and what you're doing right now here at the World Wrestling
I don't have any right to have this attitude, do I? Have you ever been fired? Did McMahon ever fire you?
Absolutely
Did
not.
your children ever almost go hungry? Did he destroy your life? Hell no, he didn't.
All right. So they have the match. It's Savio Vega against Razor Ramon, quote unquote. I think I have a couple of spots of, well, here comes the Diesel, the fake Diesel. So he comes to, I think, ruin the match. As far as I remember, it's a DQ, right?
Yeah.
Let me see. Match: Savio Vega defeats Razor by DQ. Okay, that's true. So, what's his name? Fake Diesel. Who is Kane, by the way, right? This is the future Kane.
Correct. This is Glenn Jacobs.
He does look a lot like Diesel when he puts on the beard and the hair and everything. So that's interesting. And then he's doing all the mannerisms too of Diesel. All right. Well, let me see what Vlad gave this on the Malapert Smark rating system. This is a retrospective review, by the way. So, put this over here for y'all. So Vlad's review is a half a thumbs up. Okay, I gave it a thumbs up mostly for Gorilla Monsoon and JR complaining about, you know, all the being fired stuff and everything. I don't know. Robert, do you have any, I know you're watching this for the first time, do you have any comments on good old JR here? Is this interesting to you to hear him speak? Like, I saw you smiling a little bit when he was
I mean, yeah, the stuff he says is interesting. Is this whole idea of bringing Razor Ramon and Diesel back, but it's not the same Razor Ramon and Diesel that everybody's expecting. Is just still ridiculous.
Vlad, do you want to make any comments on this before we move along to maybe a couple more clips?
Well, I think it's just bad business to keep mentioning your opposition and the two hottest guys there consistently, like repeatedly on your show every week. It just makes the viewer want to see what's going on the other side. Like, who are these? Who is Nash and Hall? Let's see what's going on. Even if you're not watching WCW, you're kind of like, well, what's going on over there? Why do they keep talking about these guys? But anyways, yeah, JR was hilarious. I like the line where he said, like, I don't know who. Well, actually, I don't know if it was King who said, like, when JR was like, did you ever have your kids go hungry or you go hungry or something like that? And I think King said something about, like, you don't look like you missed any meals.
Yeah, no, they talked for a lot longer, Robert. I just didn't want to play 5 minutes of JR and Gorilla talking. I thought the whole thing was pretty good, and obviously Jerry Lawler's there too. So yes, this was to me on this day, and the way they explained it away. He's like, well, I didn't say it was going to be Hall and Nash. It's just a guy named Razor and a guy named Diesel. I'm like, all right, well, that's fine. He brought some new competitors here. You guys want to complain about this still? Okay. He hoodwinked everybody. It was kind of a bait and switch, and it's a silly storyline, but it's not that bad. I don't think it's a disaster, honestly. It probably still brought some viewers in. Probably some people were still like, what the fuck is this shit? You know what I mean?
It's one of the great wrestling disasters of all time. It's one of them. It's in the top 10, probably, of wrestling storylines that they put together that went blew up in their face.
All right, well, let me move on to the next one then, because I do want to get through a couple of these before we get out of here. But the Stone Cold match. So as we've been reviewing these matches, this was like the first kind of full Stone Cold match that we've had. I think we had one where he fought was it Savio Vega and he got disqualified or something? No, Mark Miro. He fought Mark Miro and he got disqualified just because he didn't care about that IC title tournament. So here he's fighting Jake the Snake, which I guess is a rematch of the King of the Ring final, where he beat him there. So this is kind of a rematch of a marquee matchup. But I don't have clips I want to play from this, but I do want to play just some images and one spot in particular of Stone Cold selling just a punch. Oh, by the way, the sub storyline here, Robert, is that JR, who had been feuding with Jake the Snake, is going to mess with him from ringside with the alcohol, obviously. But here's Stone Cold getting thrown into the ring ropes and doing a leapfrog. So here's a leapfrog right here. Kind of interesting. And then he's going to get punched here, and he's going to sell it. So interesting to me how Stone Cold sells. He already grabbed his face before he hit the ground. So he got socked in the face, grabs his face, falls on the floor, flops all around, which is fantastic. This is great selling to me. Like, as an analyst of a wrestler, I would say this is the stuff I would look for. All right, and then grabs his face again, and then crawls to the corner, just from one punch, just from getting socked in the face one time. You know what I mean? Like, this is great work to me. There was a lot of good heel work in this. Like, while Jake was arguing with Lawler, Stone Cold tried to sneak attack, but, he was acting like kind of like a weasel, you know what I mean? I will say I took points off for this because I think there was a spot where Lawler missed his cue. Like, he came in too early with the alcohol thing. But in the end, he took a swig and spit it in Jake's face. And he hit his face pretty good. Like, they did that spot well. So
yeah, surprisingly, yeah. From that distance, he hit his face.
So as the ref was distracted, Stone Cold hit him with the stunner. No kick to the stomach. for the stunner at this point. But
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that. So the famous double combo where he kicks him and then so he wins the match, and then there was an afterbirth where him and Jerry Lawler like gang up on Jake the Snake. Interesting stuff. I don't know. Savio Vega makes the save. So Savio Vega, who had fought Stone Cold earlier in the year, runs him off, and that's that. So all right, let me see what we had as a rating from Vlad on this one. Vlad gave it a half a thumbs up. I liked it. I don't know, maybe just retrospectively, because Stone Cold is such a superstar and Jake the Snake is such a superstar. Like, I found it very interesting and pretty good, pretty well worked match. Everything with Lawler on the outside, I think, was good. Vlad, do you want to give any thoughts about this match before I move along?
Yeah, I mean, of course, yes. Stone Cold is going to be a superstar. Jake probably was a superstar, but yeah, there really wasn't that much to watch here, I have to be honest. So it was what it was. It was okay.
All right, well, let me see what I want to move on to next. I think I want to do, well, Mankind and Undertaker, they did a dueling promos thing again from the Graveyards, which they did the week before. I like the promos. I gave it 2 thumbs up, actually, but I'm not going to play them because I played them last week. Well, what's his name? Mankind was digging a grave, and Paul Bearer told him, "Don't do that. The Undertaker is gonna dig his own grave. You shouldn't have to do the work for him." So he's saying that the Undertaker is gonna dig his own grave and you bury him in it. It's more symbolic that way, right? And then, I mean, this imagery of the Undertaker at a graveyard and everything is really cool. It's iconic. So, but I'm not gonna play these promos. I'll just say that I like them. I think Vlad gave it a half thumbs up this time, but. The one thing I did want to play as a watch-along is this Triple H Mr. Perfect stuff. As we've been seeing in our reviews for the past few weeks, Mr. Perfect had been stealing Triple H's woman continuously. Any fine woman that Triple H brings to the ring, Mr. Perfect just comes in and just literally grabs her by the hand and takes her away, right?
Which is ridiculous.
So Triple H finally gets fed up with it, and he's going to come out and cut a promo about it. So I'm going to play a little bit of Triple H promo here. So watch along mode, finger pinch out if you want to play this in full screen. So Robert, first Triple H promo we're hearing on our Malapert Smark Podcast. So here it comes up.
You're back there, and I know you're listening. And I've got one thing to say to you. If you've got the guts, I'm challenging you. I want you to show me why they call you Mr. Perfect. If you've got any guts in your body, come out here. I'm issuing you a challenge.
Perfect's got plenty of guts, I can tell you that.
Meet me in the ring, and I'm going to show you what the new generation is all about.
My broadcast partner on Sunday mornings right here on USA on Superstars has got...
All right, so Triple H joins commentary for this match. It's weird to me, this one, Vlad, because they actually just had a match basically so they can feature Triple H on commentary. The match was a dumb tag match between the Godwins and... who was it?
Oh, I don't remember. There's nobody's gonna help you remember the name of that team.
The Grims. I don't know who the fuck that is.
Never heard of them.
Okay, so they had some bullshit tag match, and Triple H is on commentary here, so he's still talking about Mr. Perfect, and I think this is an interesting insight into Triple H's old gimmick, where he's supposed to be like a fine gentleman or something. It's kind of funky, but let's listen to Triple H talk during this tag match.
Wait a minute, wait just a second. Hunter, I don't think Kurt's all that bad a guy, but I don't understand what the deal is either. Every time you bring a beautiful, luscious-looking lady to ringside, all of a sudden Perfect shows up and she leaves with him. What is the deal?
You know who he reminds me of in My Family King? Who? Nobody. You know why? Because Helmsley's have class. We have dignity. We're not common thieves. Mr. Perfect. I don't know
The common thief.
Is, but I've watched tapes of him. He might have been perfect at one time. He might have been something. But I think now he's nothing but a has-been.
Whoa. Very interesting comments, Mr. Helmsley. I believe this is Jason Grim.
He has class, Robert. Anyways, so
I thought he was degenerate.
Yeah.
One of the guys in this match, by the way, I guess Phineas Godwin becomes Midian So
Correct.
just a side note, there's Midian, who's later part of the Ministry of Darkness. But anyway, so here's Mr. Perfect coming in on remote. So he's going to talk to Triple H and accept his challenge.
Hey, standing by right now, Mr. Helmsley. Somebody you might be very interested in. We have Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You heard the challenge from Hunter Hearst Helmsley. He wants to take you one-on-one in a match.
You know, I'm the kind of guy who loves a good challenge. You know, and for the last 11 months, I've been every week doing the color commentary on Superstars of Wrestling, the World Wrestling Federation Superstars. Not one of these so-called new generation superstars has issued a challenge to Mr. Perfect. Well, Helmsley, I got respect for you. And the answer is yes, I accept your challenge. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to give you a couple of weeks to get yourself in shape to face Mr. Perfect.
You're going to do me a favor? You're going to let me get into shape?
Well, you got your ears work pretty good. Yeah, that's what I told you.
I think you're mistaken, Mr. Perfect. It's you that needs to get in shape in case you haven't seen me in the ring. I'm going to take you apart.
That's good. I like a good challenge, Helmsley. You bring it on. You challenge Mr. Perfect, I accept the challenge. And you remember this. Nobody beats Mr. Perfect. Nobody.
Unbelievable. What about it?
There you go. Hey, Robert, what do you think of how Triple H, like how he talks, his affect, where he's trying to sound like a fine gentleman? Do you think he's pulling that off or what?
Yeah, it's not bad. I still remember it to this day. Like even before you played the recording, I still remembered him talking like that. And
This was the first time I've ever heard him. This literally this segment, first time I've ever heard him. Well, all right,
I was
so
used to it, right?
our reviews on this. I guess I'm the only one who gave it a thumbs up. Maybe it's just retrospective, like just nostalgia about this whole thing and knowing that these two turned out to be such iconic figures. So I was interested in it and I liked it. Vlad and indifferent, so I guess Vlad didn't like this. I don't know. I thought the challenge and the way he talked to him, he's like, I like a guy who gives a challenge. I'll accept your challenge. I thought that was cool and professional. Thought it all sounded good. But anyways, if you don't have any other comments on this,
No.
I will move on to the next thing I want to talk about, which is probably, let's see. Well, this is the Godwins. The Godwins won that match, by the way, Robert. Thumbs down.
Robert is thrilled for them.
Thumbs down from us. Okay, so I will mention that last week there was a weird storyline, Robert. You weren't here. But Vince McMahon had a video package where he said he called Jeff Jarrett a fraud musically. He said that he doesn't have any musical skills and that the songs he sang weren't even him. And next week we'll reveal who actually sang Jeff Jarrett's songs, and it was Road Dogg. they showed Road Dogg like singing, like he's such a great singer, like a great country singer. So the Road Dogg, Jesse James. So Jeff Jarrett had just left for WCW. And on the way out, they kind of running him down and talking shit about him. Another situation where they're talking about guys on the other channel, right, Vlad? So that's another interesting thing that happened. They revealed it to be Road Dogg. But I'm going to move on. I think the last thing I want to talk about is the main event, which is a mixed tag match. Not mixed like with women, but mixed with managers and wrestlers. So it was Vader and Jim Cornette, our guy who was having a feud with Jose Lothario and Shawn Michaels. So let me see what I got for this. I think I got some images. This is the last thing on the show today, and we'll get you guys out of here. You guys did great. Thank you guys very much for being on the show today, man. You guys are literally the only thing I look forward to in life is doing this wrestling podcast.
Well,
but
yeah.
I swear to God. But anyways, so interesting tag match here. Cornette's here. Cornette just lost to Jose Lothario at Mind Games at the pay-per-view, but he still wants to get back at him. So here's Jose Lothario and Shawn Michaels. Here's Vader and Jim Cornette. So here's our little dose of Cornette for the night. But I think you gave this a thumbs up if I'm not mistaken. But I had my problems with it. We'll check. Hold on, let me check on that first before I show the clips because I'm just curious. Yeah, we both gave it thumbs ups. I did have my problems with Cornette, who is so nitpicky with everyone. Like I think he kind of screwed up in this segment here. So finally, Shawn Michaels was down and out, right? And Cornette saying, all right, tag me in, you know, because he was like, I want to take advantage of this. And Vader's like, all right. So he tags him in. And then this is the timing thing that was kind of bullshit to me. Like right when he gets tagged in, he's like doing a practice boxing with Cornette. Like, yeah, give me one last bit of practice before I go do this. And then that's enough time for Shawn Michaels to do the tag. And then he runs in like he's going to fight Shawn Michaels, but he's like, oh, shit, it's Jose Lothario. And then he gets cracked in the face and takes a bump. So, I don't know. I thought that's kind of hokey and unrealistic for a guy who's always talking about hokiness and unrealisticness. Like, that was really dumb, I thought. So, I could have gave this 2 thumbs up or more. So, I left it at a thumbs up. But there was one spot where he actually did good. So, he had to rake the eyes. So here's him using a heel tactic. He raked the eyes, and that's how he got out of the match. And the last thing he did was try to sweep Shawn Michaels' feet with a tennis racket. So he does that, and Shawn Michaels dodges it. So Cornette and Lothario run off, and they fight off, I guess, as Cornette would say. Like, you know, we don't see them again. I don't know what the fuck happened to them for the rest of the match. And then Vader takes advantage of that one little advantage he got, and he wins the match. So he splashes Shawn Michaels and wins the match. And there's more of a melee after this where Sid and Goldust get involved, but I'm not going to go through that. But as of now, I will conclude this review of this edition of Raw, and that'll conclude our show, by the way. But I'll get final thoughts from Vlad, because I think Vlad just watched this today, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, today.
All right, so we have to do the obligatory, what did you think of today's episode of Raw? This is September 30th, 1996. Obviously up against some stiff competition where most people are watching the other channel, and they're doing their best here. But what do you think?
Yeah, it was another bland, boring episode, to be honest. It was a lot of this stuff, as you said, maybe in retrospect is kind of interesting, and that's maybe how I thought I was fair in my reviews. For the most part, and thinking about it that way. But yeah, when you compare it to what was going on in WWE still, as that's what we're kind of doing, yeah, they're nowhere near where they need to be a competitor, you know, storyline wise and TV show wise. So yeah.
All right. Robert, any thoughts on anything you saw today? Anything, did you find any of that enjoyable or interesting?
I'll just say I don't feel like I missed out by not watching this.
That's for sure.
But when I play clips like the Mr. Perfect and Triple H one, you know,
that was fine. But like, you know, to dedicate like an hour to watch an old episode of Raw, I don't feel like I'm missing out by missing this episode.
All right, cool. All